minute by minute or a second by second basis, but your stock is slightly lower today, about 1% lower. In any case, as an infra guy, there are a couple of things for you: a big infra budget, as well as some renegotiation of PPP kind of announcements, intention announcements. Your take?
Well, I think some sectors received the expected attention. Transportation infra was always a candidate for that. If you really take the railway spend plus the road capex together, during FY16, we looked at an outlay of a revised estimate outlay of 1,80,000 crores, and that has moved to 2,20,000 crores. So it's a good 20% increase over the previous year. So that's a very strong signal that is being given out. And as you rightly said, I think, however, grudgingly, the government does recognize the need for PPP to hold their hand in this path of boosting growth through the transportation infra. The government obviously does not have all the resources to spend on building out this plan. So they need the private sector who are interested in this space to participate with them. And to some extent, there was a statement made saying 85% of the stuck projects have got fixed. I'm not very sure whether the percentages is precise, but it at least states their mindset of wanting to fix the existing problems if they need to move ahead.
Okay. Well, the debt markets have got quite a bonanza. They were expecting that the government will borrow about 4.8 lakh crore. The government is actually borrowing only 4.25 lakh crore. And of course, the fiscal deficit target has been adhered to, which is why that borrowing is so much lower, almost 50,000 crores lower than what the street was expecting. Do you think money gets cheap for corporates?
Well, I wish it will get cheap, but the catch in my mind seems to be the 1 lakh crore increase in the tax collections that the initial numbers seem to suggest. I obviously need to go into details to substantiate that, but a quick look at the 1,70,000 crore increase in the overall outlay is being funded by 1 lakh crore increase in taxation, direct and indirect put together, and about 70,000 crores in terms of non-tax revenues. Consequently, the borrowing is kept modest, in fact down by 50,000 crores. But the success of the non-tax revenue to go up by 70,000 crore could actually be the wild card in the borrowing plan overall.
No, I agree with you. The non-tax borrowing has not been very successful this year as well, or rather deeply unsuccessful. So we don't know how much of strategic sales will actually happen. A final question to you: as a taxpayer and a dividend payer, how do you react? There are some SOPs announced, minor things which of course will not affect big corporates in terms of disclosure of undisclosed income. So there is some bit of, ease for the taxpayer, and a whole multitude of other minor changes in terms of exemptions going away. Plus the overall promise of that corporate tax coming down, dividend distribution tax now to be paid by the individual and coming down for corporates. Overall, your comment as a finance director of a very large corporate?
Well, the tax rates have not got significantly altered, and that was on expected lines. I did personally expect to see some roadmap for the effective tax rate coming down from the 30% to 25% that was promised. But possibly the finance minister covered it up by saying the effective rate that the corporates currently pay are around 25%. So he possibly is of the opinion that that target has already been achieved.
Okay.
The payment of tax on dividend, it's been a long-standing requirement from some quarters, saying that there are large beneficiaries of substantial dividend earnings, and they're not really joining the mainstream. So I think to that extent, this is a bold step that the government has taken by getting into an area which they have not gotten in. But on the whole, I think volume growth and business growth are going to be important. Job creation is going to be important if the government is going to look for 1 lakh crore increase in taxation. Sure. And that is something that we might know as we go along. To my mind, it seems to be a leap of faith at this time, and maybe time will tell.
All right, Mr. Raman, thanks a lot for your time today. So that's the view from L&T. By the way, the market is